Hi guys, Patty from Patty's Crafty Spot, and I am here to share with you my little fairy mini album. This was a 4-part series. This is the last part, part 4, and this is where we put it all together. I've been so excited to go ahead and do this video because I really wanted to see what it was all going to look like, because I kind of actually designed it through the videos. I did not plan ahead, so I was really excited for it. So let me go ahead and give you a walk through. You can see this is a nice large album. It measures about 1.5 inches wide. And I got some seam binding here that I colored with the pigment colors. And I show you that in the videos. So right here, really pretty. Then we open up over here a little pocket. This is using from Journals and Planners, the medium pocket die, as well as the pages were all made with the Crealies Next XXL 100. It's one of the new dies. And then in here in this pocket, some tags, and these were made with labels and tags number 15, and then just a photo mat. I also used the mini album binding system A to go ahead and create the binding system, although the middle page is a little different, but you will see that. And then over here is one of the new waterfall flip dies that just came out, right there, as well as some new flower dies and some leaves. Then we open up to the main page here, and this is my big page in the center here that I was really excited to make. So let me zoom all the way out so you will be able to see this. So this will open up into a gigantic photo collage. So let's see. The magnets kind of keep it stuck down. And this is not going to completely fit, so we'll do our best. And this is the little tail. So my magnets right now are super strong. However, when you start adding photos, that's the reason why I use the really strong magnets, because when you start adding photos, you're going to start adding bulk, and then it's going to be kind of hard to keep it all closed. So right now it's a little tight just because they are super strong magnets. But anyway, this opens up into a giant butterfly. You can see his tail right there. Let's bring him back down. I had to put 2 pieces of mat board down here so you could see him. So anyway, that's how he goes right there. Lots of room for photos and stuff. You can put photos on all parts, back and forth. When you do add photos, just keep in mind when you're adding them, like you're going to want a photo the normal way here, but when you flip it, you're not going to see it, so it will be upside down. So that part doesn't really matter much. Anyway, that opens up, and then the way to close this is we start with the tail, flipping it up. I did walk you through in the video, this was for part 3, of how to make this, and we walked through adding the magnets so things will just kind of fit into place where they need to go. So, and then the head. So you do the body parts first to close it down. Then to close it up, you're doing the bottom tails first, or the bottom wings first. And then these go in. They are magnetized, so it will find its correct location. And then the tops, just like that. And there we go. Alright, so let me zoom back in. Alright, so then there we go. And then this page flips over, so you can see these are like some chunky pages. And then on the back side here is another pocket with our tags. And I also, before I forgot to tell you, when I did make the tail pieces here, we did use an on the edge die to go ahead and create this look here to give my wings some shape, so that was also an on the edge die too. So we open up, so there's the pocket, and then over here, using some of the new on the edge dies, I created my little fairy wings door. Opens up, and then some other new on the edge dies. So these are really cute. We got a little squished So those right there. And then magnetic closures. This was in the second video. This was in the first video. And that's that. So anyway, I have a full tutorial following this little walkthrough on how to go ahead and put all of this together. And it was really fun to make. So I hope you enjoy this little series on this little fairy mini album. And enjoy the videos, guys. Alright, so we are going to go ahead and put this album together, and this is what I have been waiting for. I'm so excited to see this finally all come together. So what I'm going to do is turn my fan off, because I feel like that's super loud. So what I did was, with the mini album binding system A, which is this piece right here, I went ahead and cut out a piece, and I marked at a 1/2 inch down from the edge, and I drew a line so you can kind of see that line. So I'm going to show you how I figure out how long to make my binding system using these dies here. So what I did was I went ahead, cut them out of cardstock, and this is my 1/2 inch line. Let me see if I can get closer. Alright, so I think that's pretty close. So you can see my pencil mark right here, and then right here is where it folds the score lines. So you can see that. So what I'm working off of right now is my pencil mark that I drew at a 1/2 inch. And I'm going to take my piece and I'm going to go ahead and I'm using these edges right here, and I'm going to line them up to my 1/2 inch pencil mark. And I'm going to see where they fall. And what I want to do is see right up here how there's not like a gap. I'm going to go ahead, line these up here, and then I'm going to bring this all the way up so I don't really see a gap up here anywhere, because I want to have it nice and tight against my piece. And then right down here. And then making sure, again, I'm lined up in my pencil mark. I'm just a hair over the pencil mark. Doesn't really matter, but you want to be as close to that pencil mark as you can. And I would probably be more towards the inside of it, because it'll give you a little bit more room for the pieces to attach. So once I line it up to where I want to go, I'm going to make a mark down here at the bottom, and then I'm going to measure it to see how long. So I am approximately 4 inches. So what I did was, so that's how I figured that part out. And then what I did was I cut off 2 pieces at the 4 inch mark, and again made my little pencil mark at 1/2 inch on all of them. So you can see my little tick marks kind of right there. And I did it on both sides just because I didn't know how these were going to fold. Now the only thing with this album, because we have such a large center spread, you can see how thick that is. That is huge. So I can't do my binding pieces with the 1/4 inch gusset that I have here. I need something larger. So what I did was, for this one here, I went ahead and cut another piece, and this is 4 inches by 3, and then I have an actual full 1 inch middle. So I cut it at 3, and then I scored at 1 and at 2 inches, because I really need this wide of a space for this specific piece right here. Otherwise it's going to be too bunched up. So that's what you're going to need. So you're going to need this piece and then these 2 here. Now we're going to go ahead and attach them. So let's do that. Yeah, let me get my thing. Alright, so let's get started. So I need to attach, so I'm going to put tape on both sides of the big one, because that's my middle, and then I'm putting tape right now on each side of these, because we need to attach all these pieces together. So let's go ahead and get that attached. So I actually only need to put tape on the 2 smaller pieces. I don't need tape on this because we've already got tape here. So get that done. Alright, so then what you want to do, so here's the middle piece and the two side pieces cut out with our binding system. We're going to attach these two together. So the easiest way for me to attach these right now is I'm going to line them up. And I'm making sure I'm level here and, oops, making sure I'm level here and here. And I'm going to hold one side, just flip it up and remove the tape as I'm holding it still in place. Okay. So right now this is what we have. So now I'm going to attach this side, doing the same method. So making sure we're all lined up. And that looks good to me. Of course, that's not going to cooperate. And I'm just tucking my tape in. That seems to be sticking up. And I slid a little bit. Let me just throw this on and line it up again. At least now the tape will come off. So line it up so I know I'm all squared up. Looks good. Now let's try it again. Alright, so this is what we have right now. And you can see how big we need for that middle piece. Alright, now let's go ahead and let's add the front cover. So what you're going to need to do is cut out 4 more pieces of black cardstock in the shape for your album cover and your pages. So we're using the largest of the die, Crealies Dies XXL 100. So that's this right here. So we're going to cut out 4 of the largest. And we need to go ahead and line up now. So if you want to, I think it's probably best, go ahead and connect your 1/2 inch right now. I'm just going to draw a line just so I can see it. And I'm going to go ahead and add this right here. So what I want to do is I'm just going to, what am I going to do? Oh, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to flip it over this way, and then I'm going to draw a 1/2 inch here. So I'm lining up my 1/2 inch. So on my ruler, so there is my 1/2 inch line. So technically what will happen is if you put it here, you're going to attach just like this. So there's your line, and you're going to attach just like that. So I don't actually need this one here, so let me erase the one on the top. Oops. And we're going to go ahead and attach it just like this. And I think what I want to do is use glue because tape is going to be too hard to try to attach it to. So we're going to go ahead and glue this. Let me get a scrap piece of paper. So I'm going to go ahead and apply glue. Okay, and now, so we're doing the front cover, so go ahead and line this up. And there we go. See, that was easy. We're going to leave this one blank. And let's move on to, what's this page? This is going to be this one here. So this is the one we made. That's our nice little waterfall flip. Oops. It flips open like this. And that's going to be this page. So again, I'm going to flip this over and mark it at 1/2 inch. So I'm measuring, so just so you know, my 1/2 inch is coming from the furthest point here over. So that's where I'm lining my ruler up. So it's a 1/2 inch over. So let's do the next one. So we're going to go ahead and make sure you keep your book going in the right direction. So that is going to go on this one here. So I'm going to flip this like this. And then this is my front cover. So I want it to go in here. It's upside down, so I'm flipping my book. And I'm going to go ahead and attach this one down. And then I'll flip it back. So if you want, you can always just kind of eyeball it, make sure you're good. So now we're flipping like this. And this back side is going to be, because now we're in our 1 inch spine right here, our 1 inch gap. So I want to make sure you don't need to do any lining up on this, because this will line up exactly over that part right there. So let me just make sure I have the right side. So don't want to attach it backwards. That was my tail, so I think I am backwards. I think this is the piece I want. Yep. So this is how our wings go. They go out, and then our head is this way. All right, so let's pull that down, that up. So this is going to be our top, and we are going to line it up with this piece here. So I'm going to go ahead and add glue to this part here. And I'm also going to add a little bit of glue to the edge right here on this one, because it's going to go on that part. And for this piece, because of the fold out on it, you do want to be generous with your glue. If it comes out, and then over here, just be careful not to go further than the 1/2 inch. I'm going to take my tape off that. And let's see, the best way. Oops. So I'm trying to make sure my front and my back line up. Oops. And let's open it a little. Press it down. So I think that looks good to me. I lined up those two pieces. So I think the next easiest step will be to, add a blank page on this side here. And then I can just use this piece to line up my next piece here, because it is so big. It's going to be easier to line that up than this part here. So let's go ahead and make another 1/2 inch mark. So this one we don't have to flip over because we're going to, oops, because this is this side here. This is the back side of the next one. So we don't have to flip it upside down to line it up because we're just going to set it just like that. So we can add our glue. Okay. There's that. We look good there. And now we can add this one. So that's going to go like this. And again, we're going to attach it right on top of that one. So again, add glue. And then just a little bit on the edge here. That's going to smudge out. And then we want to line them up. And that's going to go like that. So this is what we have so far. Now we just have to do the back cover. So again, we're going to just go ahead and attach it the same way we did the other. So we'll just make a mark on here. Let me see. So another 1/2 inch mark. And then add our glue. And then line it up. If you have any glue that pops over, just go ahead and clean that up before it dries. And this one is going to go on top right here. So we'll just line it all up again. So I'll do it on this one. Okay. And set that one right on top. And that, and then we just got to put this one on the front cover. So let's go ahead and do that. Making sure we're all lined up again. And there is, whoops, my magnet is sticking to my other page. But there we go, like that. So we're going to add a harder spine right here because the book is so thick, so we can't just leave it cardstock. And then we're going to start decorating the rest of the pages. So let me cut a few more pieces and I'll be back and we'll start getting this finished up. Alright, Alright, so before we get started on adding our pattern paper, I want to color some seam binding with some of the pigment powders from Crealies. So I am going to pull off probably that much. I want to make a tie closure for my book. So what I did was I went ahead and show you. In a previous video, I went through showing you all the different colors for the pigment powders and stuff. So I have little swatches that I made that shows, like, if you spray, oops, let me get it in the right light. If you spray it, you get this, and then if you are coloring seam binding, what you get. So I went ahead and made like these little cue card kind of things. So I went through and I found the color that I wanted to do. So it's kind of a greenish blue. I think it's showing more blue there. And that is number 20. So what I'm going to do is we're going to go ahead and color some up. So I'm also using these awesome spray bottles from Crealies. These ones are huge. If you've seen in my other videos, the ones I was using was a lot smaller. And Annalise sent me these ones here, and they're so much bigger, so they hold a lot of water. So that's kind of fun. So let's go ahead, and I'm using, like I said, number 20. And let me get something to scoop it out with. And this will work. So I'm just going to put a little bit of powder in. These are very pigmented powders. That's probably even too much, but it's hard to tell. So that, and just get some water in there. You can see how pretty that is. And let's get it swishing around. So pretty. Let's mix it up. Let's add some more water. And I'm doing this now, that way my seam binding has some time to dry. Even though I can just hit it with my heat gun, I'm just going to go ahead and get this going first. Alright, get a napkin. Okay, and then my seam binding, let me get my glove on, because I don't want to dye my hands. And let's get this in here. Look how pretty that is. The camera's not even showing it. It is so pretty. Alright. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to pull this out, I'm going to set this to dry, and then we will get started back on our pattern papers and stuff. So I've gone ahead and cut out my pattern paper, so I needed 4 pieces of pattern paper, and I also want to go ahead and add some pockets. So from the journals and planners, I use the medium pocket die, and then it also comes with the piece for the center, or for the pattern paper, so these pieces here. So I went ahead, cut 2 pockets out, and then the pattern paper for those, and then these right here are my front and back cover, and then the other pieces we need to go ahead and cover up. I am going to hold off on adding the front and the back cover because that's where my seam binding is going to go for my closure. This album is pretty thick, so a tie closure is usually something good to go ahead and make for your closure instead of a magnet, because you can make your ties as long as you need them. And then with the magnets, sometimes you're limited because if the magnets slip away from where they need to go, then it's going to be hard to keep your album closed. So let's go ahead and we're going to start on the inside front cover. So for that one, I am going to go ahead and use this one here. I've already gone ahead and inked my edges, and that's going to go right there. So let me get my glue, and we can go ahead and get this one attached. That would have been nice. It would have contrasted with, nope, we're going to stay where I was. We're not going to change it up now. So we're going to go ahead and get this piece attached. Lining it all up. And then we're going to add a pocket, and I'm going to add some score tape to that so we can get it stuck down. Now these pockets are a good size for this album. However, I wanted to have a nice size pocket to go ahead and add any kind of photo mats or anything to it. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Get these folded. And I'm just going to burnish them down so it is a nice crisp fold. And let's see where we're going to add this. So I'm going to add it, I think, right here. So I'm coming down as close as I can to the edge of my page and kind of centering it there. So let me hold to one side to get it stuck. And then we can do this side. That stuck down. Because it's a thick book, that's why I'm picking it up. I don't want to put any pressure on the binding. And then this one is going to go just like that. I'm not sure if I mentioned, but I did ink all my edges already, and I inked them with the Distressed Ink Vintage Photo. So now I'm going to open up to here and here. So now we're going to work on this page, which is this paper. That's going to go right there. That one's stuck down, and then my next pocket. And we are almost done. This one was definitely a fun, interactive album to create. I really enjoyed the different fun elements for this one. Let's get it burnished down. And again, we're going to line it up. So right there looks good. I'm holding it. So that one's stuck. And then I'm going to add my pattern paper right there. There's that. And like I said, I need to add these, but I need to add my seam binding first before I do that. And then I also want to cut out with some more cardstock a little stronger spine. Just because these pages are so heavy, I just want to add some a little more durability to this part here. So we know that we are 4 inches, and then 1 and 2, and then the quarter and quarter. So 1.5 inches wide by 4. So I'm going to cut it out of, I'm going to cut a few strips of cardstock. I'm going to use 110 pound just so it's a little more thicker, and get that attached on. So let me get those cut and we'll be back. So I went ahead and cut out some cardstock. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I have 6. I don't know if I'll use all 6, but we'll figure it out. And I did go ahead and dried my seam binding, so that is also good to go. So let's go ahead and get started on these. So I'm going to glue these together. So I could use tape, however, I feel like the glue is a little stronger to hold together, and you don't have to worry about like humidity and stuff with your pieces, like the tape becoming unsticky because of humidity. And right now it is very humid. Scrap paper. And then when you're gluing these, you want to make sure like you're keeping them flat, because if you have them a little crooked or anything or warped, when the glue dries, it's going to dry your piece like that too. So you want to keep this nice and flat. So that's 3. I definitely want to do 1 more for sure. And making sure I have the glue all the way up close to the edge. That way when I do stick them together, any extra glue will just work its way out to the edges. Because I want to make sure it's a nice solid piece. So I actually think 4 will do it. I don't think I need to continue. Alright, so now let's go ahead and get this glued on, because I need this to dry first before I continue. So making sure it will look good. So it looks like it's going to fit perfect. So I'm going to go ahead and add glue to this. And I am going to be generous with the glue because it is on a binding, the bindings part, and that does get a lot of movement. So I want to make sure that it's not going to go anywhere. So that, and then I'm going to add a little bit of glue to here, especially to the sides because they are so small. Alright, so glue on that and glue it there. Now I am making sure that it's attaching. Good. So as you can see, it will move, so you want to be careful. This is why I need it to dry before we continue. And this glue does dry pretty quickly, so I just want to make sure my edges are going to be stuck down. looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and let this dry before we continue, and I'll be back in a moment. Alright, I think I'm dry enough where I can continue a little bit. So what I want to do now is go ahead and add my seam binding. So the way I usually like to do the seam binding is I draw a line in the middle. So because we know right here the indentations on the XXL die, basically that's the middle. So just to be certain, I take and I just want to draw a little line. Just right there. Just a little one. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the back side. Just like that. And then what I want to do is I'm going to go ahead, and that line right there is just a guide to go ahead and put my seam binding on. So now the one thing you do need to be careful about on these is because the pattern paper, you have black showing still of the cardstock underneath. You don't want to make sure like this part here isn't sticking out. So you want to definitely just put it in the middle area. So for this one here right now, I'm just going to use some score tape, and then when I glue down my pattern paper, the glue will also hold it. So I'm just going to put some tape there, and then I'll put some on this side. Right there. And so this is just one long piece right now. So what I like to do, because I never know how much I'm going to need and I don't want to cut it too short, I'm going to leave it all this one length. So I'm going to remove my tape. And then I'm just going to set this on here. And that is my front. So that is this piece here. Like that. So I can go ahead and glue that one on. And then I'm just going to add some glue to my ribbon. So I don't want that coming off. And get that all stuffed down. And then my ribbon, because I don't want to twist it, so I'm just going to follow it through, keeping it the same direction. So I know I need it to go like that, so I'm going to just flip this over now. And then remove my tape and set my ribbon down and do the same thing. Go ahead and add my back cover. And then some glue on that. And then go ahead and add that. Oops. So now we have that like that. And now I want to make sure I keep it even. So what I'm going to do is I am just spreading it out. So now this is the middle. And I'm going to go ahead and cut that. So now these two are the same length. And then tie it so I see how long I need to go. So that right there is way more than enough. So let's go ahead and cut off some of this. So we're going to go, so these are my bows, and they're very large bows, so cut all that off. I could probably even cut more off after if I find that it's too much, which I still think it might be a little long. And then what I want to do with what's left is my little pull tab here. I want to go ahead and add some seam binding here. And that will just make a little tie there. Because I don't have an eyelet or anything in here, this is more of a decorative. I don't want to actually be pulling it because I don't want it to tear out of there, because it's just paper. So if you pull it too hard, you will tear it. So now the only thing left to do is go ahead and cut all of my pattern paper for these little extra bits and pieces. And in the binding system, you can see what I did with it. So in the binding system, you also get these neat little pieces in here, and they come 2 sizes. So you can go ahead and add. So if you wanted to, you could have always add the pattern paper under before you add the book, the page, which probably would have been really pretty. So I'll keep that in mind for next time. But I'm using these little pieces here, and I'm going to cut my pattern paper, which will leave me, these are about a 1/2 inch, so it's about the spacing I have left. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. The only thing is I will have to measure for right here, and on this one in this center piece right here I'll have to measure. But everything else will be already all lined up. So I'm going to cut those, and we'll be back. Alright, so I cut out all my pieces, and I've already inked them, and I did cut them down to size so they will fit where they need to go. So let's go ahead and get these attached. I did attach some already because you don't need to see me gluing all these little pieces on. So we'll get the rest glued on, and you can see it. So I'm attaching that. There. And then the back piece, let's make sure it fits. Yep. So you always want to make sure you try to test your pieces before you add your adhesive to them, just in case you need to do any trimming. Because there's nothing worse than sticking your glue or tape on something and then finding out you're not quite the size you need it. Alright, so there's that. And then I already did this section. So the only other section to do with you is this middle piece, because I've already attached that piece and then the piece to the back. So I just saved some of the more interesting pieces to share with you. That. And you want to make sure when you are putting it on, you're not putting it at any of the score lines. You don't want to get it all jammed up so it's not going to be able to flip. So just be mindful of where your score lines are, where your pages flip. So you want it somewhat close, but not quite. Alright, and then the middle piece, let's see if I cut it right. That looks good. And our album is now done. There we go. The magnets make it stick. It's kind of funny. Awesome. So I'm going to cut out some little tags for my pockets, and then I will be back and we'll do a final review. So just so you know, the tags that I did use in this album, I used the labels and tags. And this is number 15, and these are the smaller ones. So those came out really pretty. So let's go ahead and take a final walkthrough of this super cute album. So let's open it up. Now, one thing I did do was I actually went ahead and removed the seam binding I had right here, only because when this is all tied up, you don't know which strand to go ahead and pull to open the album, and I was afraid of this part here tearing because, like I said, it is only paper. So let's go ahead and walk this through. I have not done a complete open up of this yet since I've started putting it together, so you'll get my reaction as we go. So here we go. So we open up here, and over here, like I said, these were my tags. So I went ahead and made those little tags to go in the pockets. And then this is our little waterfall. Closes right up. And then we get to this part here, which I'm really excited. So I have to zoom out for this one, way out. Alright, can't get any further than that. So here we go. This is what I've been waiting for. So we go ahead and open up that, and then this. So this is going to open up into kind of almost a giant butterfly. And then the bottom wing. And again, if you don't remember, these are all magnetic. Let's see if I can try to get it in the picture. And then this is the tail. Let's see. And this side here, we're going to open up. And then the bottom tail. And then the head. So again, this is a big giant photo spread. So this is made for going ahead and doing like a photo collage. So you can't quite see all the way down, but his tail. Let's get his head a little even. That is so cool. So right here you can put some smaller photos and some larger photos here and here, as well as here, there, smaller. The antenna, like I said when we made it, that's kind of too small for photos, although if you have a small enough photo to go on those, go for it. And you can also, don't forget, you can add the photos to both sides of these. So it's made for photo collaging all the way. I would say if you do make this and do the photo collaging, just pay attention to when it is kind of closed up, how you want to put your photos. So for example, here you're going to want it facing up, and then of course it would be upside down when you flip it, but you're not going to see that until you flip it. So there we go. So cute. So then the way this closes up is the body goes first. It's all magnetic right there. The antennas down onto the head and goes there. And then the way the magnets work, so they all interact together. Tails, bottom tails first. And there are magnets keeping all those together. And then you just go ahead and, can't even reach it, it's so far. Those ones. Oops. And there. So let me go ahead and zoom back in. Right here. And then this page flips over. Again, our pocket with our little tags that I made. They go in there. And then over here is the little fairy doors that I made. They open up. And then another pocket with some photo mats using the new on the edge border dies. And that closes all back up. Magnetic closures right there. And then the back. And there we go. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. This was a lot of fun to make. I was so excited to finish it up. And if you're watching this on the Crealies YouTube channel or my channel, Patty's Crafty Spot, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Hit the subscribe button if you're not already subscribed. And until next time, guys, happy crafting. Bye.